Hello everyone, I'm Esther from University of Sumatera Utara from the English department, and today I will make a presentation for the subject Introduction to the Linguistic 2. The title of my presentation today is Neurolinguistics, and today I will explain about what is neurolinguistics, and after that I will explain about language and brain, and then I will explain about the different views on the relation between brain and language, and the last I will explain about the example of neurolinguistics case. And now I will explain about what is neurolinguistics. Neurolinguistics is the study of the relationship between language and the brain. In other words, it tries to explore how the brain understands and produces language and communication. Language and brain. Human language or communication in this case consists of speech, hearing, reading, writing, and non-verbal modalities, and all these aspects related to any aspect of brain or brain function. And now I will explain about a human brain. Human brain consists of three parts, which are known as forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain, as shown in the picture below. You can see the picture. The first part of the human brain that I will explain is hindbrain. Hindbrain is the lowest part located at the base of skull. It has two important structures, medulla and cerebrum. Medulla oblongate controls respiration, reflex, movement, distinction, and heart beating. It also connects brain with spinal cord, and they are crossed. So the cerebrum controls muscle spacity, coordinates the muscle movements, and also controls body balance and body movements. And the second part of the human brain is midbrain. Midbrain is the smallest part of the brain, and it is located above the brainstem. It functions for receiving the sensory signal from sense organs such as eyes and ears. When someone turns his head to right, left, up, and down, his eyes still are able to focus seeing the object. Look at the picture below. You can see the picture and you can see the structure of the picture. And the third part of the human brain is forebrain. Forebrain is the most vital part of human brain. This area consists of three structures. They are thalamus, cerebral cortex, hypothalamus, and corpus callosum. Thalamus functions as the connector for the sensory signal to the brain. The smallest brain structure is hypothalamus, however, it has such vital function. It controls human mood and emotion, such as eating, drinking, and sexual behavior. Human brain has two hemispheres. They are right hemisphere and left hemisphere. Both of the hemispheres have different functions. Roger Sperry is a biopsychology expert who has proven that each hemisphere of human brain has different specialties. Since 1861, the left area of brain is considered as the dominant area of speaking and language ability. Nonetheless, based on the result of the researchers since the last 20 years, it has shown that the right area of brain also functions for the language ability and speaking. Human brain is divided into two parts, right hemisphere and left hemisphere. Both sides of brain play different roles. The left side functions for critical thinking and the right side functions for creative thinking. You can see the picture beside. You can see the left brain and the right brain and their ability. And now I will explain about relation between language and brain. The issue about human brain and language has been argued by the researchers from long time. Aristotle argued about the functions of brain. However, the indicator for this issue was argued after the findings by Broca and Wernicke in 1960. Based on the structure and the orientation, human brain consists of two areas that are important. for language. When the input is received in the form of utterance, the sounds are heard by temporal earlobe, especially primary hearing. After the input is received, it will be detailed, digested, and rehearsed. The language sounds will be sent to the worklist area to be interpreted. In broadcast area, the process of recognition starts. After understanding the language sounds, broadcast area send the message to the motor cortex to be implemented. The implementation process in the motor cortex is not moderate. For the basic utterances, the minimal 100 MOOC cells and 140,000 chains of neuromuscular get involved in the process. The motor cortex considers not only the sets of words, but also the set of sounds and the features from the sounds which are uttered. And now I will explain about the different view on the relation between language and brain. The first view that makes the difference between language and brain is localism. Localism stands for the differentiation of different higher functions that are localized in the different centers of the brain, mainly the cortex. Either these centers can be seen as sisters, being equally important, or one centers. And number 2 is association. Association assumes that higher functions are dependent on the connection between different centers in the cortex. Linguistic ability is seen as the relation between images and words. Aphasia results from broken connection between the centers that are needed for linguistic function. Representative of this view are Wernicke, Linguistics, and Gaswind. This view is also sometimes called the classical. And the third is dynamic localization of function. In this type of theory, different subfunctions are seen as localized in different parts of the brain. These subfunctions must be combined in order to achieve more complex functions, which can be put together in a number of different alternative ways. The relation between a localization lesion and the functions that are disturbed becomes more complex in this case. This is the view of Luria. And the last is hierarchical or evolution-based view. Evolution-based theories emphasize the layered structure of the brain from inner or lower and more primitive structure to the later developed and superposed cortical layer, and the role of all of this layer in language and communication. Jackson is an earlier representative, Brown a contemporary one. And the last is holism. Holism is the opinion that the brain, at least concerning higher functions, works as a whole. The cortex is designed to handle, for example, higher cognitive functions, symbolic thinking, and intelligence or abstraction, and aphasia is a sign of a general cognitive loss, not a specific language loss. This view has also been called cognitivism, and some representatives are Murray, Head, and Goldstein. The hierarchical views are also sometimes counted as holistic, and Jackson is regarded as the founder of the cognitive school. And the last but not the least, I will explain about the example of neurolinguistic case. Okay, the example is the speaking disorders in stroke patient. In general, there are 4 types brain disorders that affect language and speech skills, namely aphasia, agnosia, aprasia, and dysarthria. And the first I will explain about aphasia. Aphasia is a language disorder that performs in the cortex. Aphasia is a disease which is obtained if one has a linguistic system. That's it. People with aphasia is a person who has the ability and mastery language. If someone gets injured brain since he was born, directly prevent him from getting language whatever. And the second is broadcast aphasia. Ross Judith E. 1974 says that motor impairment in speech it usually occurs in patients with Broca's aphasia. This type of disorder is known as a disorder motor or expressive aphasia. This aphasia involves damage to the front dominant left hemisphere third circle. This damage occurs in the motor cortex, auto substitution protections. The symptoms appears if there is damage to the cortex motor is as follows. First, motor function is in a state of normal. The regulatory muscles work by good, but paralysis occurs in the opposite hemisphere is the hemisphere right. Second, speech production is not land disjointed, often stop and does not have a normal intonation. Third, the resulting speech is in the form of telegraphic. For example, speech that does not have clear grammatical morphemes such as article, preposition, plural marker, property signs, time marker on verb. I think that's all about my presentation today. For your attention, I say thank you.